Stop spinning.
Welcome to BS session 143. When you want a solution, sometimes need to be part of the problem.
But some of these bullets, as you saw, have an incendiary device on the tip of it, which is a heat-seeking device.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Welcome to your weekly dose of BS, the Holistically Speaking podcast.
Hello? Anyone?
Oh, anyone?
Yes. We get
yes, Friday. Everyone.
You can see in the chat saying, "Howdy, boys! Happy Friday."
Yeah, it is Friday.
Yes, I could not agree more.
I'm glad it's Friday.
Yeah. Today we have Mr. Leon Weatherby. Today, Leon, give yourself a short introduction, and then we'll do a quick set of ad reads, and then we'll get this show rocking.
Sounds good. So I'm Leon Weatherby. I founded L3I Design Solutions a couple years ago. Started making just precision rifle accessories for mainly the rimfire market. And now today, we're building complete rifles and rifle systems and actions and stuff. So making progress.
And stuff.
Yukikaze, welcome you into the circus.
Thank you.
All right. Today, we are brought to you by Callsign 66, Canada's best rifle training. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Book a course now at callsign66.ca and follow them on Instagram at callsign66 and on Facebook at C/S66.
And we're also brought to you by Ribstone Gunsmithing. Craftsmanship done right. Contact Oscar at ribstonegunsmithing.ca and breathe life back into any firearm. And also, Oscar has a recently published book out titled Rust Bluing in the 21st Century, and you can find that on Amazon.
Bueno. March Scopes Canada, the Dion Optical Design Line and Rifle Scopes, has a scope for all your hunting and shooting needs. Contact Doug and Nisa at marchscopes.ca. Oh, right. I got more here.
There's more.
We're giving you a minute.
Seems like it's been a while. All right. You want to own a piece of BS podcast history? Now's your chance to get a terrific deal on a March FX 5-42 by 56 High Master wide angle tactical. It's got an illuminated reticle, locking turrets. We used it for a while. The reticle is the FML-MT tree reticle. It's got a few blemishes on it, faint ring marks, and anodizing on one of the turret edges has some scuffs. They're discounting it, and it would normally run you about $5,319. It can be yours for the dynamite price of $4,600. Somebody put in here simply because we let Chris touch it. There's a lot of truth to that. All right, $4,600, and you can get a March High Master 5-42 by 56. Contact Doug or Nisa or both of them if you want at marchscopes.ca.
We're also brought to you by EM Precision Rifles in Bakerville, Alberta, building Canada's finest precision rifles. Find Shane and Steve on Facebook, Instagram, and on their website at emprifles.ca. If it's precision hunting, varmint hunting, PRS, NRL Hunter, or ELR, EM can get you set up with the right rifle build.
And we're also brought to you by Bolt Action Coffee, bringing specialty coffee to the precision shooting world. Order coffee and merchandise at boltactioncoffee.com.
Dell Engineering's with us tonight. As usual, pick up a connected shotgun, Bergara rifle, and Apex ammunition from your local distributor and tell them Phil sent you. Look them up on Instagram, Facebook, and on their website at odellengineeringltd.com. They just released, when did they release that anyways, that Canuck Recon 3? How long ago was that?
Like
about a month ago.
Yeah.
Month ago. That's what I thought. The Canuck Recon 3 has flip-up sights, mag feed, pump action, and a whole lot of fun in one package. I didn't write that.
Just write it how I read it.
And we're also brought to you by Sterling Arms International, home of the R18 Mark III and the R9 Mark I. They may be down, but they are not out. Stay tuned for the latest updates on the battle to get the R9 back. If you haven't already checked out our Facebook post, in which I give all the details, and actually just touched base with JR at Sterling there yesterday, and the RCMP is doing their last minute rush, and they've emailed him back with some more questions. So I think the 60 days is coming up very soon, very shortly. So we should be finding out very soon. So
Past 60 days yet? That seems like a while ago.
because it's the government.
Uh-huh.
This-
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they get extra business days.
You always get more than you bargained for with the Canadian government.
Yes.
All right, don't forget, folks, we have a draw going on right now for a full custom 338 Lapua custom build built by EM Precision Rifles. It's got a Curtis Custom Helix action, an IBI 30-inch barrel, custom fitted with an fitted with a custom EM Precision muzzle brake, and a special EM Precision branded Trigger Tech trigger, all laid into a full custom laminated stock by Rifles Refined. Each $20 entry can be sent into info@bspodcast.ca. Please be sure to include your email address and your phone number in the comments of the EMT. The electronic money transfer for people that don't speak EMT. I ran into somebody a while ago. What's an EMT? I thought I was dumb old guy that didn't get, new jargon, but apparently I'm not alone. Anyway, include your email and phone number so we can get a hold of you. If and when you win, we'll draw once we have, 400 or 500 entries. We'll see.
Whatever Kurt feels like it.
It's really open. Yeah. If
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's enough,
Mhm.
we'll draw. Yeah.
Yes.
And I can't win this one, so everybody's odds went up.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? How many damn things have you won on draws like that?
Over
It's
two
sickening.
hands full. 2 hands and at least a foot worth.
Are
of
you
stuff.
serious? Oh
Yeah.
my God.
There's stuff you don't even know about that I've won.
What's that thing they do when people are actually really believe in this? If you really have positive thoughts about things, those things will manifest somehow.
No, I don't do that. I just enter for stuff.
No. You pray a lot.
Mike doesn't gamble. He
threaten
just
a lot of
spends money
people?
on draws.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Doesn't gamble, doesn't drink very much.
that's right. Yeah.
When the sticker draw
That's where
comes
I
out,
went
look
wrong.
out though.
Sticker draw. That's my addiction.
Sticker draw fund that starts every year. It's in his yearly budget. All right. Where do we go from here?
Okay, Leon, I have to ask this question because it's been burning a hole in my mind.
Oh, if it's personal, don't do it, Leon. Don't. Ask
last
Mike
name's-
about his rash.
No, that's long story. Your last name is Weatherby. Are you related to the Weatherby line of firearms?
I don't know exactly. I do know there's only 3,000 or 4,000 Weatherbys in the entire United States.
Oh,
And so they migrated over to the New World. And we originally came through, I think, Newfoundland and then down into Alabama. So Roy Weatherby, who started Weatherby Firearms, was actually from Missouri, which is the state I live in now. But I haven't traced any genealogy that crosses them. So to my knowledge, there's a chance. But
just
I
run
don't
with
have any
it.
knowledge of it. Yeah.
Nobody's going to verify that.
It's the other Weatherby rifles is what we're going to start tagging our stuff as.
The others, yes. Yeah.
The other Weatherby rifles.
I'm sure their marketing department would love that.
I took a different direction. So
Yes.
I ran with the B part of Weatherby. So I have the B logos.
Is that
okay,
where that
that's
comes from?
A little bit of it, yeah. So my last name is Weatherby, and I started L3I, and then the other two owners, we all worked at Honeywell for our day jobs. So also brings in that bee theme and the hex theme, and so it just kind of made sense to kind of roll that all into the branding.
Is there a little bit more behind the L3I? Is there like a
Yeah,
breakdown
there's a
to
little
that?
bit behind that too. Yeah. So so my name's Leon, my dad's name is Leon, and my grandpa's name is Leon. So I'm like the third Leon. So like it's like L3I is just like Leon the Third Innovations. So it's just
That's
like my little tinkering and stuff.
Okay,
Clever.
nice. I gotta
And it was-
ask, do you have a son?
No, I don't. I had 3 daughters. So I almost named one of my daughters Noelle, which is Leon backwards, but I stopped short of doing it.
that would have been great.
That's one of those ones where it would have been fun in the moment, and then like 3 years down the road, you're like, God, you're stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. We went with the other name option instead, but I do have a nephew who has middle name Leon. So we passed it down one way or the other.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair.
So is that how you kind of started everything? Is just tinkering in the garage, or?
Yeah. So I started shooting precision rifle competitively in 2019 because I was tired of spending a lot of money on rifles and guns and just going to the local range and punching paper at 100 yards. I'm like, I spent a lot of money on this stuff. I want to do something, a little more cool with it. So I signed up for a PRS match, went and shot it, and I was hooked at that point. And I started looking at all the stuff I needed and the price tags on it. And I'm like, this stuff's expensive. I can start kind of making some of my own smaller stuff and designing it and 3D printing it. And I'd show up to matches with this 3D printed stuff. And guys were like, I kind of like that. It's kind of cool. Sell me one of those. And next thing I know, I got this business I never even really intended on. But I say I didn't intend on it, but
it's quite the rabbit hole. Did you have a
really,
background in manufacturing, or is it just kind of professional tinkerer?
Yeah, so I started out early on in my career doing HVAC work, and then went into diesel mechanics. Went to school for engineering. Eventually became a mechanical designer. So I started shooting precision rifle. I was already a tool and die designer, and so I did a lot of 3D CAD work all day long. And so it's just natural for me to jump in and just start modeling up my own stuff and sending it out as an STL file to the printer and playing around with it.
Yeah, so you're definitely a good bit of technical background then. So
yeah, I started out very young, just taking apart all my toys, and I built an air rifle out of a Super Soaker squirt gun at one point in time in my life. My parents wouldn't buy me a BB gun, so I took my Super Soaker and turned it into a BB gun. So
That's awesome.
Leon P.A. Ludi Weatherby. Yeah.
Necessity is
was
the
some of
mother
the
of
fir-
invention.
So what was some of the first things you came out with?
So the very first product I designed, I think, was the CZ 3-round extension for CZ magazine. The first product that really took off was the Bagara B14R magazine extension, because there was no extensions on the market. So the only way to get past 10 rounds was to get one of my extensions. And so I started making those, and I sold a metric ton of those things through A&J Sporting, quite a bit of them through there, and then through my own website that I built. My website was pretty atrocious for the first year or two I was in business, because I'm more of a mechanical designer, less of a web designer for sure.
Yeah. You're a guy on the wrenches, not on the web pages.
Yeah, for sure.
All of us can relate.
Well, maybe
Super Soaker
we'll come back to this comment, but Yukikaze says, I need to know more about the Super Soaker to BB gun conversion. I think don't worry, I think SHOT Show's coming up. L3I might have a conversion kit ready to
That
go
would be
for
awesome.
SHOT Show. Not trying to get away your secrets that you told us beforehand, but
The only downside is you can't really find good Super Soakers anymore like you could in the past, or the pumps with the bottles on them, and now it's just like rebranded nonsense.
Back in the 90s when the bottles could hold some decent pressure too.
Oh yeah, I'd pump those things up like a PCP air gun. The plastics are
went the way of
swelling.
the lawn dart.
The lawn dart
No.
launcher.
we we can't have the lawn dart. We can't have good super soakers. Sorry, folks.
That's when it all started going downhill.
That's right. Yeah. Here's your participation ribbon, and I'll take that super soaker, please.
So you started with smaller stuff, and then you eventually just designed your own chassis. What was the process to that?
So the chassis was something that kind of just fell into my lap. So I was already designing the Stinger action, barreled action. And then one of my team members, he knew a guy down in Texas who was making chassis. And he's like, well, maybe Leon would be interested in purchasing chassis for a Stinger barreled action. So Austin Lange from Lange's Precision Machine, he reached out to me and he's like, hey, I got this chassis I've been making and I'm interested in selling it to you. I'm like, well, send me a chassis. Let me kind of evaluate it. So he sends me his chassis and I look it over and he was on to, a lot of good things with that design, but it just needed to be kind of tweaked and modified and L3I-ized, in my mind. So I'm like, I'll buy some chassis from you, but I want to go through a redesign. So we went into a redesign process for the next few months where we completely redesigned every component in the chassis, but we kept the same DNA to his idea of what he wanted to do with it. And so it's very modular. It's built in 3 pieces. You have a stock, you have an action inlet, and you have the fore end. And so you can take those pieces apart. You can swap out the inlets to different inlets. It's got a very low center of bore axis, very low center of gravity, where your barrel sets very low in the fore end. And so you have a very short moment arm, the rotational point above your support bag. So it shoots very flat with high recoiling cartridges, and it sets very stable on a bag because you need more input in order to teeter that chassis up and down vertically. And so you have a lot of vertical stability with the chassis as well. And so I just, I designed up some bridges, modular inserts for the fore ends, whether it's M-lock, combination panels, brass weights. Then we have the 5 internal barrel weights in it as well. So there's a lot of modularity to it. And it leaves open the ability to have different length fore ends, different width fore ends that can be interchanged onto the chassis, different butt stocks if you want to go more of a thumb hole through style stock or more of the traditional rifle stock shape that we have now. So we left room to kind of expand the lineup of it moving forward. So that's one of the earlier versions there with the shorter fore end and the little bit older grip style there. But it's form factor, it's like 95% the same now. And that was one of the original Stinger prototypes.
You get that nice adjustable, obviously length of pull, cheek rest, and bag rest. So that is a lot of adjustment for fine tuning.
Yeah, it'll go down to 11 3/4 inch of pull for your lady and youth shooters and just small stature shooters in general. And you can go all the way up over 14.5 inches length of pull for your full framed adults. So it's one of the most adjustable chassis for size wise on the market.
And the bag rider goes up and down too, eh?
Yeah. You have the adjustable bag rider height. That really saved me at the Rimfire finale in Idaho this year. They had a stage where you needed a lot of rear bag. And so I just dropped that bag rider all the way down and gave myself, to where I could make one single rear bag work in the back end of it.
Did you find the targets were smaller at the finale this year?
The Rimfire finale?
Yeah.
No,
close, I should say.
Yeah, closer distances for sure. There's a lot of sub 35-yard shots. There was actually one I couldn't even put in my Kestrel because it was like 20 yards. My Kestrel would only go down 25.
Yeah, so the shoot house one?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, man, it was tight. You were right in there. I'm like, I think I cleared that in 87 seconds. It was a
lot of fun.
It was fun. Don't get me wrong. I just was surprised how close some of the targets were.
Yeah. I was talking to Brady about that, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we changed some things up, and we never really had targets that close." And we're like, "Let's do some of that." And I thought it was pretty cool because I didn't know how to think about it. I'm used to shooting 50 yards and out, and it's like, okay, I got these 20-yard targets. What's that going to do with my elevation? And so,
yeah, we were kind of
an interesting challenge.
Just hold straight up seemed to be, for the most part, it worked.
Yeah, it worked for me as well. Brady's like, just it's straight up. Don't worry about it. I'm like, all right.
We did luck out with no wind though.
Yeah. The wind
Like, there
came
was-
on a little parts of the match here and there, but it was pretty calm for the most part.
I thought that was a fantastic match. I had such a good time down there.
Oh yeah, it was a blast. I enjoyed shooting it. One stage I got out of order on target sequence and I lost 7 shots. It killed me. Dropped like 45 places. I'm like, oh.
That was the thing with that is 1 point is like, well, I dropped 10 slots. That's great. And you guys sponsored a stage at Rimfire Finale 2 as well.
Yeah, yes, we did. I actually cleaned that stage, so I was happy for that.
What was the stage? Because I wasn't there for the Thursday. I never.
Oh, you're talking
made it
about
on-
the side stage?
The side stage, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we brought our new Stinger complete rifle out in the Hive chassis and then let guys shoot it. And we had 5 targets, 5 or 6 targets, all the way out to like about 200 yards. And I think we only had like 4 or 5 cleans out of the entire day. So it was a little bit of a challenging stage. But you could either shoot it with the Stinger rifle for free with our ammo, or you could shoot, your rifle, and then you could opt to pay. If you paid, you're eligible to win the prizes.
No, we appreciate you sponsoring stuff like that. That's
Oh yeah, we love doing it. It's a good way to get your name out there for sure.
That's true, especially with a lot of this precision rifle stuff. Like you said before, it's all expensive. So when you actually get to go and put hands on something, it makes it a lot easier of a sell as opposed to, well, that kind of looks cool. I'll try it, and $2,000 later, you realize you don't like it.
That's funny. Yeah, my business partner, he put the rifle together in the Airbnb the day before the side stage, and he had the wrong action screw in the front, so it wasn't setting properly in the chassis, and so it is having feed issues the entire day. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good way to show how great our rifles running. So I'm like, Jeremiah, you're banned from putting the rifles together for side stages anymore. It's like, what do you mean I have to use the right action screw? I'm like, yeah, it's got to be the right length.
Manufacturer specifications
in the hole.
Well, we had a good time either way.
I found a photo. That's probably the one of the latest models with the longer forend there.
That's actually still the shorter forend. You could tell because it has 3 M-lock slots on each of the inserts.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, so that's my 308 when we first did like a little bit of a photo shoot when we got the original chassis in. So we did 10 of those chassis, and most of those went out to team shooters. And so you can see a lot of team shooters will still have that chassis because it has the gold anodized knobs and the M-lock inserts in it.
Yeah.
We ended up
those gold
deciding
inserts on the side. That adds a really nice look to it.
I need to start offering some of those on the website. Right now they're all black.
Just a couple limited editions.
Yeah, just for the special in the know people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we decided that 15-inch forend was just a little bit too short, looking at what the market's at. And we're like, we're going to bump up to a 17-inch forend. And I think that just kind of made it a little bit more on par with what the market's doing right now.
Yeah, and the long barrel trend too.
Yeah.
Have that forward support.
I was running a 28-inch barrel on my 308 this year, and that shorter forend looked a little bit off with the 28-inch barrel.
Yeah.
It's funny how that changes where, what was it, maybe in 2020, 19 inches or 20 inches, everyone seemed like, no, that's the length that you want. And then all of a sudden now we're at 24, 26 inch barrels on rimfire, and it's as thick as a tractor axle.
Yeah. It's all about getting that balance and that positional shooting. So you're putting them in a lot of chassis that are designed for centerfire rifles that have longer barrels and heavier barrels. And so to get it to balance in that chassis, you need a similar form factor to what the centerfire rifles are that chassis was originally intended for. With our chassis, we took into account that we're going to have a lot of rimfire shooters shooting it. And so you can actually put our Stinger barreled action in the chassis with no weights, and it'll still balance, a couple inches in front of the mag well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't have to have that added cost of purchasing the weights and everything for it. The weights are really beneficial for ours. So like if you're going to shoot like a high recoil rifle and you just want to get it heavy, just to mitigate some of that recoil, or if you're putting a factory rimfire barrel action with a smaller, shorter, lighter profile barrel, you could put the weights in the chassis and get it to balance out as well.
Mm-hmm.
You got different
So-
grip sides for that chassis too. It looks like I'm just looking at it on your website, and
Yeah,
I
so
don't
we
know
have
whether
what,
they're just different versions or.
yeah, so we have what we call traction panels, which are like nylon plastic panel that has ridges across it. So when you're squeezing the fore-end, you get really good positive traction on the side of it. But also, like if you shoot in cold weather, like you do up north, you have somewhere to grab that isn't bare aluminum. And so that plastic just feels a little, it sucks a little bit less heat out of your hands as well. That was always my big complaint about shooting chassis is when you shoot in the winter, it just, your hands just go numb trying to hold that aluminum. Because I always competed with like Manor stocks and foundation stocks for the longest time until I came out with the Hive chassis.
Yeah,
And do you have much of an opinion
full
on,
aluminum.
say, the pistol grip chassis versus what we consider a traditional chassis? Or
I like pistol grip chassis. I've ran those before in the past. I've had MDTs and XLRs with pistol grips. It's really good for like when you're port arms, getting ready to start the stage. You have positive control on the rifle because you can wrap your thumb around and get good control on it. But there's something to be said also for your more traditional style grip, like a rifle stock that you're used to. Because if you grew up, shooting rifles for 20, 30 years with that same ergonomics of a rifle grip, it's a harder transition going to the pistol grip for some guys. And so right now, our chassis has a more of a traditional style rifle grip instead of a pistol grip, but we're looking at coming out in the future versions that can take the pistol grip styles as well.
and then for that pistol grip, you would essentially just need to take the back half of the chassis off, and the front and the middle, your action section and your fore end would be the same.
Yeah, that's the ideal. Yeah, we haven't gotten it out on the market yet. It's still in the future. Right now, I've been really tied down with moving into this new shop and the barreled actions, getting the stinger actions out the door and in production and out the door. So the chassis development is kind of slowed down a little bit as of now, but it's about to ramp back up now that the barreled action for the stingers is kind of settled and in production and then going out the door now.
Let's go in a little bit in detail about that Stinger barreled action. That something kind of you've partnered with, kind of developed from the ground up, or what is
so it also kind of had an interesting life to it, like the chassis did, where I started with another chassis. So we saw that Dave Kiff at Pacific Tool and Gauge was coming out with a 40X action. And he actually had Weatherby 40X action. He posted on Facebook, and I messaged him. I'm like, hey, I got to have that 40X action that says Weatherby on it because I'm a Weatherby. And so he sold it to me. I got the action in. I started looking. I'm like, it's pretty nice action. I'm like, I think he's got something here. And so we were working with them. And we were like, well, maybe we could brand a 40X action and bring to the market a 22 repeater action that's a little bit more affordable than the customs that are out on the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were working with them, and the production schedules and everything just wasn't going at the speed we wanted. And there were some design changes from what they had that we wanted to make it more reliable with our magazines. And so we decided, we could go with what they had, but we really need to do a ground up redesign. So I just started doing a ground up redesign of a 40X repeater.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got the design made, we went to SHOT Show, went around SHOT Show, talked to a bunch of different manufacturers, seeing where we could get, some of the components produced and procured through, and ended up meeting some people. But every route we went down, something just kind of broke down and we couldn't get it in production for the longest time.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
So what was supposed to be a year-long process to get into production ended up taking 2 years. but we're finally in production, and I think we have 7 different manufacturers for the components that make up the entire action. But we went to some of the top manufacturers in each category to make sure we had the most premium components going into the Stinger action. We made sure we had premium coatings as well. So we got, DLC coating on the bolt and the body, the shrouds, good finishes and good coatings just to make it a smooth, reliable, durable action. And so the barrel was another unique part of the project. So I wanted to test out the barrels, and I also wanted to build a reputation for the quality of the barrel, because the barrel is very important to sell the action, the barreled action. Guys have to know that it's going to be able to shoot. So we actually made the CZ drop-in barrels is to kind of establish ourselves in the market as having offered a very high premium, very accurate barrel. And so we started manufacturing the CZ barrels and getting them shipped out and getting them on the market in anticipation of the Stinger barreled action to come out. That way the marketplace has a high level of confidence in the quality that the Stinger is going to be at.
Yeah, just to show up as the new kid on the block with the barreled action of the blue. Yeah, that's a bit of a 2 feet jump in head first kind of deal. So
especially in a market where everyone's like, oh, you got to go get an action, and you have to go to the custom smith, and you have to have this barrel, this brand of barrel on it, and that's how you get this level of performance. And so we're kind of bucking that trend where you don't necessarily have to have X brand of barrel. You don't have to have X gunsmith and X action to get that level of performance to compete, at the highest of levels in the sport. And so that's what we kind of want to bring is the custom type rimfire that every man can afford was our goal with the project. So unfortunately, being a smaller manufacturer, we couldn't get the price as low as we had originally wanted, but we are, a very competitive cost in comparison to some of the other options on the market right now.
Yeah.
And especially starting with the CZ, like there's so many CZs out there right now.
Oh yeah. And so the Hive chassis actually has an inlet for the CZ. And so we anticipate like our customers starting out with the CZ, getting our parts, bringing the CZ up to its ultimate level of performance, and then jumping over to the 700 pattern Stinger at some point. And so they can use the same chassis and just get the Stinger in the 700 inlet and then move it on over.
Having the replaceable inlets, I think, is probably one of the biggest game changers I've seen when it comes to chassis in a while, just because everything is modular except for the middle, and you've made the middle the modular part as well, which I think is genius.
I think that's the direction it's going to go. If you look at like MDT with their new LSS, they're doing that modularity, and then Graybow with their new core chassis system that goes into their rifle stocks. I think it's going to be the direction that we end up seeing things go, because it gets to be unsustainable when you have 10 different chassis for 10 different rifles. As you start out with the Tikka and you go Remington 700, then you buy a CZ for rimfire, then you go 700 for simfire. Now you got all these chassis and stuff everywhere. And $1,500, $1,600, $1,800 a pop. So,
well, and also even just from a consumer side, like I know I'm kind of dealing with this now. It's like, yeah, I'd really like that chassis, but they don't make it for my action pattern. Whereas it'd be a lot easier to talk the manufacturer into, can you make a piece this big instead of making a piece this big for my needs? It's a little bit easier to convince the manufacturers to be like, oh yeah, it's got to fit in this profile, and we'll just machine it out, and you got variety there right off the hop, which is always a good thing as a consumer. So
yeah, modularity is like, that's what kind of has made like the AR platform so prevalent across the world. It's such a modular platform. People could switch, individual pieces out, change calibers, 4N links, stocks types, grip types, stuff of that nature. And that's kind of the way I was looking at the chassis is leaning on that modularity of it.
For the Stinger action, what ammo have you found is working best in it? Because everyone seems to say that their particular ammo is always the best.
So I've shot Ely and I've shot S&K and Lapua. I've shot Norma Match in it. Norma Match is more of like a practice level ammo, but it shoots really well in it. But I have not yet to really nail down which ammo is performing better. The Ely Match and the 10X and the team shoots exceptionally well through it, as well as the S&K long range and the Center X and the Midas. The barrels we got just tend to not be very picky, and that's what we've gotten a lot of feedback from the market, is that one of the draws to our barrels is that they're not too finicky on ammo choice. And so I designed a wasp chamber that I thought would be kind of the Goldilocks chamber for precision 22 chambers. And so it has a 1.5 degree lead. It has a fairly tight body, and it kind of matches the original 22LR Sammy match chamber to an extent with a lot of its body dimensions. So a lot of time was spent developing that original match chamber back in the early days of precision rimfire. And so when I started making CZ barrels, I was using the match chamber and it was getting exceptional results, but it had a lot of bullet jam into the lands, and the CZ action didn't have enough cam in it. So a lot of guys were getting tight, sticky bolts. And so I had to come up with a new chamber that was just a little easier to close the bolt on, but still gave that level of precision performance that they were kind of expecting out of the barrel. So that's kind of where our wash chamber came from.
And then different versions of a rimfire 22 rimfire chamber are there now? Like I'm aware I'm pretty dumb when it comes to rimfire stuff, but I know there's several versions, and I just can't imagine. It doesn't really click well in my brain.
There's probably 100 different chambers you could get.
It's crazy.
There's a lot of them that are more popular, like your Lilja has quite a few popular chambers. The Lilja match chamber is very prevalent. The Ely EPS chamber is very prevalent.
Yeah.
The old school Rockstar chamber was the Winchester 52D chamber. That is pretty prevalent. The JGS match is really prevalent. PTG has a match chamber that's pretty prevalent. Lots of them out there. Lots of good chambers. The bench chamber is really popular in your semi-auto 1022s, which is like your precision semi-auto chamber. Has a looser body tolerances, so it can feed from the magazine a little easier.
Like what are the critical design features that separate one from another?
I think that how much jam the bullet has into the lands, so the length of the chamber, the depth of the chamber, then also the lead angle. So you have basically like a cone at the end of your chamber that the lead projectile kind of forces into that cone, starts into the rifling. So the angle of that, so your original Sammy chamber is like a really steep 5 degree angle. Now, they say 2 degrees is like ideal for Ely, then 1.5 degrees is ideal for S&K and Lapua. I went with the 1.5 for my my wash chamber because most shooters are shooting S&K Lapua right now. But I've noticed that the Ely shoots pretty much equally well out of that 1.5 degree chamber. Then I made a 2 degree chamber reamer with my wasp. Everything the same as the original wasp, but having a 2 degree lead instead of a 1.5 degree lead. And I'm playing with that right now, and I haven't seen any performance difference with that. So I don't know if it's worth bringing out on the market or not.
Yeah, I would imagine, any difference you might see from lead angles, you'd get that difference in manufactured rimfire ammunition. That'd be tough to try and distinguish between performance you get from subtle changes in lead angle versus variation within a lot.
It's the differences are so subtle, it's almost hard to document. So I've played with a lot of different chamber depths with lead, how much jam you have going up to the lead, and I can almost see no difference in performance. I think the barrel is like 98% of your performance, and the chamber is like 2%. As long as it's a straight chamber that isn't super sloppy, you're not going to see a big difference in your accuracy performance, in my opinion.
There's not dirt in it.
Yeah,
that too.
I keep saying I want to make a YouTube video where I chamber a barrel with a DeWalt drill and shoot it and show guys how it performs, but I haven't got there yet.
I would watch that.
I think I need to do it.
I
Or
think
just
that
convince
would,
MDT to do it. They do a lot of those cool videos like that.
yeah.
They got
I
a lot of
remember
time to do it.
Yeah.
I remember reading an article years ago about a barrel manufacturer. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but he was at a match and guys were like a bench rest match, and guys were joking around about how well his barrels shoot that he could probably make a piece of rebar shoot. And so this, just as a joke, he spun up a chunk of rebar and spun it onto an action, went and shot it. And I I imagine the barrel life was probably pretty low, but apparently it shot really well for a little while.
Yes. Look, I mean that
awesome.
chamber probably cut really easy though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you that much. Ain't no hard stainless steel chamber.
It's
to
like
cut.
12L or something like that. Yeah, it just sucks.
Yeah, coming out like lead solder.
Yeah, no doubt.
So where are you on twist rates right now? Because that's kind of a hot topic for some people.
Yeah.
16 twist.
16 twist?
Yeah, I keep a really close eye on the bench rest sport because that's where they're squeezing the most accuracy out of rimfire. And those guys are all running 16 twist barrels. They seem to be less finicky to tune. And so, granted, bench rest rimfires mainly shot at 50 yards, and they're not worried about distance. But if you could tune your rifle to shoot really tight at 50 yards, it's going to shoot really tight at 100. It's going to shoot really tight at 150. I don't think we're going out to far enough distances for those tighter twists to really net you the advantage that you think they would. I ran a 12 twist and a 14 twist. I played with them, and I found I actually didn't do quite as well with those because I kept forgetting to account for the extra spin drift with those tighter twist barrels. And you get off a guy gets off a stage like, oh yeah, I had 3/10 out there to 220 yards, and you get on there like, oh, it's about 3/10. You hold 3/10, and you're like, wasn't the right call for me. I forgot I got a faster twist barrel. And so it's kind of the name of the game is kind of taking information in from previous shooters, applying that to what you're doing. And so I think when you start running these faster twist barrels, it's harder to interpolate the information you're reading from past shooters that have shot the stage and apply it to yourself as consistently until you get used to doing that. But I know a lot of guys who've run 12 twist barrels and they're like, yeah, they shoot really well once you find the ammo they like. But in today's world where you can't always find ammo, you got to kind of shoot what you can get. You want the barrel that's less picky. And I think the 16 twist 24-inch barrel is like the sweet spot for having a very not picky barrel.
What was Ryan with IBI saying, like his take on optimum twist for a rimfire? Wasn't he in the 14-inch camp? Something
he
like
was
that?
in 14, but if you were going for like the ELR stuff, he said a 12 could work, but you got to watch your spin drift, I believe.
Yeah.
It has that much effect, hey, on those little rimfire bullets, or is that right? That's interesting.
Well, you got to think your time of flight.
Yeah, my brain doesn't go short like that. Time of flight.
That's the thing. Once you stretch it out there, it's it's that time of flight where it really kicks in. And again, you're starting at subsonic speeds, so
yeah,
it kicks in a little earlier than your supersonics there, Rooster.
Would you guys would you guys happen to know kind of off the tops of your heads what time of flight would be out to say 400 meters or something, 400 yards? I don't care.
Trying to remember.
Depends on what ammo I'm sure.
At your ranch, when I made hits at 550 meters, I think time of flight was like 2.5 to 3 seconds. Yeah,
that's nothing.
It was a boatload of fun. You just pull the trigger, wait, see that flasher. All right, keep doing that.
That's funny.
So
the delay is always very cool. When you take the long
very
shot and you You have that ding that's like a second and a half later after you've already seen it move. There's a big push, I know, with PRS rimfire to start bringing things, 225 and in, 200 and in. You're seeing a lot of the bigger matches to where they're not going much past 200 yards because you're trying to find who's the most consistent shooter throughout the day. And when you start going out to those extended distances, that the scores on those stages become very dependent on the conditions they're shot in.
Yeah.
And it's less about the shooter and more about the shooter in those conditions at that time. And so to make things to where, the best shooter that day walks away with that trophy, it makes sense to kind of bring some of those distances in a little bit. And so I've been playing a lot with Applied Ballistics new app, and they got WEZ, which is Weapon Engagement Zone. So you can put in your rifle and your velocities and your SDs and your confidence level on calling temperature and yardage and all these other environmental factors and your accuracy and the shape of your target, the distance of the target, and it outputs your probability or hit probability. And so when you put those targets in there at those distances, you find that your hit probability isn't as high as you thought they were. And so you're introducing luck into the equation. And in the precision rifle series type competition, we want to minimize luck and maximize shooter performance. So the ELR stuff's a lot of fun. You see, like with long gong, that's getting to be a very popular sport where you shoot at 300 yards, and you can do it from a bench, so it's not a lot of physicality. So you get a broader set of competitors going out to shoot it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely structured very differently, and so that's where you're going to see those guys kind of take on those, experimenting with the faster twist barrels and the long range ammunition. You start to see these manufacturers coming out with ammunition more geared towards long range shooting. So. I've been playing around with air guns here lately. I've been seeing some good performance out of the air rifles at distances and stuff. And there's some neat stuff going on in that space.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
like the consistency you can get out of an air gun is literally mind blowing. Like it's.
And my friend James, he sent me a photo. It's like 50 shots, SD 1.4, over 50 shots.
What?
Yeah,
really.
And I've seen them put down groups at 400 yards that were like 2 inches. I'm like, oh my gosh, so consistent.
And they're getting pretty fancy too. Like they have a chronograph built into them and everything, and you can dial the tightness of your barrel down on them. And like we had a air gun source on a while back, and some of the stuff they're doing with air guns is insane.
Yeah, I just bought a FX Panthera from Utah Air Guns, and I've been playing around with it. And I've already designed a magazine for it. Working on chassis designs and stuff. And yeah, I'm like, I get these squirrels that just pop up, and I get distracted. I go off on these wild tangents, and I got so much stuff designed in my design folder that just has never made the light of day yet. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, it's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah. If I had enough money, I'd bring it all to the market, but you got to pick and choose what you think the winners are going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not the only one with squirrels inside of your head.
Derek, I feel like that was a direct insult directed at me.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with squirrels.
So you were paying attention.
So I was just
Where do you get
talking about
projectiles
magazines. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, am I lagging here again?
You're a little bit delayed. We talked over each other.
Your internet consistency was very consistent. Really bad.
Projectiles for air rifles. What's out there now other than Daisy?
So I got
There's got to be.
So this one here, it's a 42 grain slug. I think it's a Zan. There's like Zan slugs. So you're not shooting pellets, you're actually shooting like slugs. And if you look here, it actually has a boat tail on it too. So it's got some of these slugs have higher BCs than the 22 long rifle. So you're shooting a higher BC bullet projectile, and you can shoot it at a similar velocity as the 22 long rifles. And so you're getting less wind drift and less elevation that you have to dial for a distance than even the 22 long rifles are. The only thing I can find so far is like the downside to the air rifles is you just have a little bit more variation in point of impact shift because the barrels are just they tend to be these thin liners that are under tension, and they're complex barrel systems. They have air plenums around them, and if getting that part of it dialed down, where you put your air tank's also a big deal. If you put it underneath the barrel, then you have this fore end that's really far below your barrel. So you have this really long moment arm, which is the opposite of what I did with the Hive chassis. You don't want that for stability. So like your FX, I think it's a DRS, it has the tank is around the barrel all the way down it. And so they can fit it in like an MDT chassis or a foundation stock. But you're limited on capacity in that point. And so you're carrying around your scuba tank and you're filling it up after every stage. And
that all sounds like trying to tune a Savage rifle to shoot by just tightening the action screws while your tongue is hanging out the left side of your mouth. That doesn't sound appealing to me at all. Like trying to get one of those to shoot what you're describing. I think I'd rather go back to muzzle loading.
I got a good friend. He shoots all our matches here in the Mo series, and when he shows up and that rifle's tuned, you can't hardly hang with him. But when he shows up and it's out of tune, he's way far down the pack at that point because it's very finicky in that sense. But once you have it tuned, I mean, it's hard to compete with for sure. He cleaned an entire NRL match. I think he was the first person to ever clean an NRL match with an air rifle.
No kidding.
They're very impressive.
Hot dog.
But the 22 stuff's kind of where more of where our focus is. But, I like playing around with everything.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Hey, whatever happened to the ELR bullets? Was it Cutting Edge that came out with rimfire bullets?
The Curex bullets.
Was it just the bullets, or is that what it was?
Yeah, they came in little pill bottles with cotton and stuff. And I had a bunch of them. I never ended up getting around to loading them, but I couldn't find the right powder and a scale that was sensitive enough because it's like 1.5 grains of powder and 1.7 grains is too much. It's like,
really.
Just to take one little piece of Rotumbo and drop it in there, and we'll see what happens.
One kernel.
Yeah, I mean, you put Varget in there. Everything shoots with Varget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just some Varget in there.
So with the magazines, what's the process of getting a 22 magazine to work properly? Because on some of these custom actions, I see that people struggle with feeding.
Yeah, so I mean, you have a Remington 700 action that was designed to feed, a giant centerfire cartridge big around as your finger that has this nice little neck with a pointy little bullet that's going in this big giant hole. And so that pointy little bullet just has to find that hole somewhere, and it just funnels on in there. But now when you convert it to a 22 and you have this tiny little hole with this tiny little bullet and they're the exact same size as each other, you can't miss it at all. It's got to go directly in there. And it's a lead bullet. That means it's very fragile. You hit the edge of that chamber at all, and it's shaving a piece off your bullet, which changes your BC, gives you flyers. It doesn't track at distance the same. So it's very finicky in that sense. But basically, you want your magazine to fit into your magazine well fairly tightly. You don't want movement because with movement, if a support bag or anything contacts it, it rocks in that mag well. And now your feed angle is now different and it misses your chamber. So the biggest thing is, having it fit your chassis and be located relative to your action properly. And so different chassis are a little bit different in the way they locate the magazine versus the action. So you can find some rimfire 700s feed better in certain chassis versus other chassis. And some magazines in that chassis feed better than other magazines in that chassis because there's no standardization in the size of the mag wells, the locations of the mag well relative to the recoil lug abutment surface in the chassis. And so that was the big thing with us developing a complete rifle system with the Stinger, the Hive, and the magazine, is that we can control every variable, and we can ensure that our complete rifle that goes out is going to function really well. But also for the people who want to use their chassis of choice, their rimfire action of choice, we made magazines that were adjustable. So you could adjust your latch height in your magazine. And then we also added a feature where you could adjust the width by extruding the latch surface out of the back of the magazine to where it fits tighter in the mag well as well. That may not work for every rifle because sometimes when you extend the back out, you're pushing that front of the magazine forward more, and locating that cartridge closer to the chamber may cause more issues. So depending on the chassis. So it's not a one-stop shop for everything. But the more adjustments you give a user, the more possibilities they can find a combination that will work for their rifle. That's kind of a long-winded answer to it. But
the more you guys talk, I think the more I love center fire.
Center fire
is a lot of trouble.
This is coming from the guy that spends half his barrel life on load development.
You shush.
All 15 rounds of load development.
Yeah.
The biggest draw to rimfire for a center fire guy when they first show up and shoot their first rimfire match is like, oh, I can pull my headphones off and I can pull out the earphones underneath the headphones and I can hear everybody and I could talk and I could have a good time. And that's the biggest draw.
And you can talk shit too to the other competitors.
I still can't hear anything past my tinnitus.
So the cool thing with rimfire is like I'll be shooting a stage and I'll be having a conversation with the guys behind me while I'm shooting the stage, and we're talking crap and having fun. And
yeah, it's also great too. It's like, oh, I don't need to load. I just need to grab the box out of the drawer, and we're going to a match. I've signed up for a match at midnight the night before. It's like, oh yeah, we can do this. We're good. So doesn't mean I'll bring all my gear to the range, but I'm ready to go.
Doesn't matter entirely. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of guys get into rimfire because they think they're going to save some money. You don't save any money. You just shoot more ammo.
Yeah, not when you're buying 5,000 rounds at a time.
Yeah.
In theory, the ammo's cheaper.
The ammo's cheaper. You just shoot 5 times as much of it.
That's true.
He's like, oh, it's 22. I just keep shooting and shooting. I'll go to the zero board in the morning. I'll shoot like $50 worth of ammo before I can get off the zero board line.
That was funny at the finale. They're like, on the second day, guys, we got a zero. Someone pulls their truck up to the headlights so everyone can see the target board.
I zeroed the second day in headlights. That worked better than I thought it would.
Everyone was there pretty early at the finale too. I think there was a time sunset calendar issue.
Yeah, everybody was worried they wouldn't be able to zero before the match started because the time of the shooter briefing wasn't even daylight yet.
I was just worried that please airline don't destroy my rifle and my zero. That's all I was worried about. Because they don't care those baggage
about yeah. You were telling me this summer about your zero actually wandering between morning and afternoon. That just blows my mind. I mean, I get the general concept of it, but the amounts that you were talking about kind of blew my mind. That's a constant with this stuff.
I don't think it was a zero. It is the temperature affects velocity, I think, in rimfire.
Oh, that's what okay.
That's what it would be, yeah.
Yeah, in your Kestrel, you want to
talking. Yeah.
You want to build velocity charts for temperature.
I think I have at least 6, I think, in my profile, just because you need such a big spread and then it covers you for it. I've had between morning and afternoon 45 feet per second difference, which doesn't seem like a lot, but at range it does make a difference.
When you're only shooting 1,000 feet per second.
Winchester 748.
Stable 6.5.
Oh, okay.
But if you think about it, center fire's 2.5 times faster than a rimfire.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So 45 feet per second spread in rimfire is like 130 30 feet per second spread with a centerfire rifle.
Right. Yeah.
And you kind of understand that it's a bigger deal once you start to kind of look at the scale of it.
What
Crazy
was I gonna
stuff.
say? Oh, barrel tuners. Where do you land on barrel tuners? Because I know everyone likes to.
So
throw their
barrel
opinion on that.
tuners do change the size of your group. I got barrel tuners. I put them on my barrel and I start twisting it, and I can see it tighten up and get larger and tighten back up again. And whether or not you can predictively put that barrel tuner in a place that's is going to give you a tighter group and have it stay tighter throughout the day and throughout the temperature changes and environmental changes, I don't know that voodoo science yet, but I'm actively trying to learn it. So I got a tuner on my bench rest rimfire that I'm playing with, and I think there's some validity to it. There's different methodologies of using a tuner, and you can get into those rabbit holes on YouTube. But I know like one methodology is, you take 2 lots of ammo, the same type of ammo you shoot, like say Cinerex, and you find a slower lot and you find a faster lot. If you can find a tuner setting that shoots that faster lot and that slower lot really well, then that setting would be good as your velocity changes throughout the day, because it's a setting that shoots both velocities pretty well. So that's like one train of thought of using a tuner, in a PRS setting where you're not going to be able to go back and retune your rifle throughout the day. It's got to be the same tune from the time you start to the same time you end. Unless you're just one of those guys who abandons his squads and hits a zero board 3 times a day, but you won't be very popular if you're not doing your job, helping spot and scorekeep and stuff. But I think there's some validity to tuners. And if you look at bench rest and you look at all the guys that are winning on the national stage in bench rest, they all have tuners on their rifles. And these are the guys that are squeaking out the most amount of accuracy out of these rimfire rifles of anyone else. So there's something to it. I got to put my finger on it and understand it better.
Because when Litz kind of put initially says that they don't work, that there was 2 distinct camps as soon as that article that he wrote came out.
Yeah. Well, I just, I would say, hey, go show up to a bench rest rimfire match and win without a tuner, and then I'll believe you. But put it to practice. Show me it doesn't work. And I mean, you can show me in different scientific ways, but I mean, the way you set up a scientific experiment is subjective to an extent. Science is subjective to an extent. I mean, there's irrefutable parts of science, but we don't understand all of science. And so there's things you can overlook. 1,000 years ago, we thought we understood science really well. And then now we understood that we didn't understand it nearly as well as we thought we did back then. So, I mean, harmonics is a thing. There's a wave going down that barrel. And as you add weight and you change the distribution of weight across that barrel, that wave's going to change. And you can get positive compensation on the end of the projectile. So tuners can change that positive compensation on the end of the barrel. We know from a scientific standpoint. Do we know that it can in a meaningful way, in a predictable way that we can use to give us a competitive edge? That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Are you going to come out with a barrel that improves BC?
I've heard guys say longer barrels increase your BC. I don't know what they're set to. I mean, how much you swage that lead through the rifling. I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, though, don't you? Those structured barrels. Who is that?
Yeah, TACCOM HQ or.
That's right.
Yeah, it's TACCOM. Yeah.
Yeah, they never wear out.
Claim.
Yeah. You never get hot. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm a designer. I know a little bit of science. I took physics in college. I don't want to discount anybody's work per se, but I am a skeptic. Like, you make bold claims. I expect bold evidence and data to back up the bold claims, so.
Right. That's all.
Yeah. That's kind of my thing with tuners is like, yeah, definitely throwing a weight on the end of the barrel. Yeah. That's definitely going to adjust things. But do you have like a 40 thread per inch, adjustment, and you're turning the tuner a half a turn.
No kidding.
How
Especially with
much are you
especially
really
with the
changing?
So
right.
if you look at the
Because
tuners that we're offering, they're massive.
Mm-hmm.
They're gigantic because we have these thick barrels. And so you need a lot of weight change to make a real effect. When I see these tiny tuners on this big fat truck axle, I'm like, it's not too much.
No. Yeah. The act of
That's
putting the
exactly what
tuner
I
on,
was going to get
yes.
to.
Yeah.
Like an 1.1 inch diameter barrel. And you think for rimfire, like the energy impulse or whatever you get from that round going off, what is that doing to that? What do you say, that typical? I don't know how else to describe it. Energy pulse as it's going down that barrel and coming
The
back again,
pattern.
and right,
Yeah.
and what that could possibly do by turning that tuner out, like you say, with a fine thread. You're only traveling 18 thou per turn or some silly thing like that, right? Yeah.
See now,
Health,
so now
healthy
I understand.
skeptic.
Now I understand. Like I know, Mike got it. This is one of the many things he won. He won a barrel tuner from Spearhead up here in Canada. And he put it on a Savage, a Loner Savage. So very cheap, thin pencil barrel 22. And Mike had really good results, but that I understand because you have a very tunable barrel because it is not very rigid.
Right.
It's easier to part changes to a system that is not rigid rather than trying to impart changes to a system that is very rigid. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, okay, makes sense in kind of this category, but again, a stainless steel truck axle, that's going to
Now,
take a
if it
little
was
bit
the
more.
structured barrel, though,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
sorry, I'll
Well,
stop.
structured barrel, and then you got little cables, and you're adjusting your cables to make sure all your tension's good and all that.
That's kind of interesting.
It's all a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
All
You get your
simulation.
fix-it stick kit with your torque limiters for each cable system around there.
Yeah, on your Savage action.
Mm-hmm.
Someone will try it. Has anyone tried a gain twist 22 barrel yet?
Uh,
Well, somebody's had to have.
I don't know if
Mhm.
anyone ever has.
it's interesting. trying to think of something.
Oh, next rabbit hole.
That's the next rabbit hole.
Next. Yeah.
We're going to start it at 16. We'll end it at 12. That way it's not picky, but then you got all the downrange benefits for ELR.
Yeah, it's the perfect barrel. 12 to a 16 twist.
Yep. Make it left-hand gain. That way it's great for compensation in your recoil.
Well,
Yeah.
it fights spin drift then, doesn't it?
As long as you hold left edge, it'll be fine.
Right.
You just have opposite spin drift because now you're left-hand twist.
Oh, come on. You're no fun at all.
Well, you just got to know which way the wind usually blows at your range. If it's always a right wind, then you want a left-hand twist.
Yes.
That way it just
Yeah.
compensates.
I'll buy that.
Yeah. Then if
That'll
the
be
wind
the next
switches,
thing. Quick
you
change
change the-
barrel.
Yeah.
Straight groove rifling. That way you don't have any spin drift.
there
Franklin
you
Armory.
go. There you go. Now we're on to something.
Going back
They
to
think
round
out of the
ball.
box. I will give Franklin credit. They
They
think
do.
outside the box.
Too bad the
There's
ATF
this
pulled
rule.
back all their rifles here lately.
Yeah, I seen that. That was unfortunate. Well, our version of the ATF pulled off almost every one of our rifles. That's a sort.
I'm
Sore
feeling for you
topic.
guys. I'm supporting you. I'm wearing my Canada sweater, so I'm supporting you
Oh,
guys.
nice.
Good Lord. How much tax did you pay on that? It's inherent.
I had good exchange rates though, so we did all of our school shopping for the girls when I went up for the Apex match.
Actually, yeah, that is a smart
We hit
idea.
the malls
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys,
They're like
you guys
bandits.
got that 30% off everything. So
And the mall had everything 50% off. I'm like, we're American. It's now like 70% off.
We're coming back every year.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
I'm tiring of this podcast quickly.
Oh, come on. Live a little.
Oh man.
So
What's the price of Varget down there?
It's about $55 a pound.
Oh, you suck.
I think that's outrageous. Personally.
Well, it is, but
Yes.
Used to, Shooter's World was like $15 a pound cheaper than Varget. Now Shooter's World's more expensive than Varget. It makes no sense to me.
it's inevitable though, that
My center fire load is whatever I can find. That's what it is. There's no, this is my perfect load. It's what I can find. This is my load.
Yeah, last year I used Varget, Vitivori, Shooter's World. I used a little bit of everything. And I mean, Hodgdon's 30 minutes from my house. But still, there's no
Can you buy stuff
hometown
out-
disc.
You can't
hookups
buy
or-
stuff out the back door.
There's no off sales.
look at
Yeah,
that. Van
Oh
just
my
typed in,
gosh.
he paid $120 for a pound of Varget.
If I'd have known that, I'd have brought you some into Idaho. I don't know if you could have
Yeah.
got back across the border or not, but
Yikes.
Yeah, you need a little bit of paperwork to bring that across.
Anything's
So-
legal if you fill out the right number of forms.
See what
That's all
what
it
really
is.
what really burns is
you put it in
I-
coffee jars. It's just coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. What really burns up here in Canada is we make most IMR powders are made in Canada, but they're packaged in the States. So they go down to the States and they get packaged and they might get tariffs applied on them. And then they come back into Canada and they get
Oh.
another round of tariffs. So that's it's a bit of a sting at times. I think some of those have gone away, thankfully, but a little bit of a burn. So
It
I see you
happens.
also have
Didn't Trump just
accessories.
announce that? Sorry.
Oh, I was about to say, I see you got accessories for a little bit of everything. You even got weight end for the foundation stocks.
Yeah, we made the Dina weight, which replaces the and shoots the SS rail that's on the bottom of the foundation stocks and allows you to bolt your Arca rail directly to the weight. Adds like an extra pound to your foundation.
Hmm.
I don't think they're compatible with the new Samson stock though, so my sales have gone down on those quite a bit.
Okay, yeah. But,
But
yeah, you got
one thing I see that I really like is the trim chamfer deburr all-in-one cutter.
That is my
Is it-
best kept secret for product. So you could take
Share the
basically
secret.
yes. So it's basically the same type of cutting head that you find on like a Henderson type trimmer, which originated on the Forester hand crank trimmers. And so it trims the length, the inside chamfer and the outside chamfer all at the same time. And you could just put it on your electronic Lyman trimmer, which in the US, those go for about 150, 160 bucks. And so it speeds up your brass prep time tremendously. And I think it's like about like $80 for the trimmer head with the carbide blades and another 160 for that. So you're about 250 bucks into it. And you get the level performance like out of a Girard or Henderson
let's see,
or the new
I'll
Hornady.
I'll share my my screen here showing.
Three-way
see,
cutter head Lyman Case Express.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you got
it's actually
the,
cheaper than I said.
You got the pilot, and then I'll see the teeth there. So that is a pretty slick unit. And that's a pretty slick cut right there.
Yeah, they give a really good cut. I actually have the carbide cutters made at a custom carbide cutter manufactured for CNC tools. So it's not like a cheap, like on a bench grinder type thing. It's actually cut by a precision company that cuts precision inserts for high precision tooling, CNC tooling.
Okay, yeah,
But-
nice.
Anything that saves me 5 minutes on brass prep, I am willing to spend money on. Like, I hate trimming so much.
So I have a Hall of Fame bench rest shooter about 2 hours north of me, and he ordered one from me. And I'm like, how'd you find out about these? He's like, oh, one of my buddies, who's another Hall of Fame bench rest shooter, told me about him. And so I guess it's kind of gotten out like in the centerfire bench rest world about those things. And so I've sold quite a few of those to those guys, but it hasn't really caught on much in the PRS market yet. Can you put a brush and brush your necks at the same time? I mean, you could take out the pilot. The pilot's not really necessary because the lineman uses bushings to locate the brass. I just add the pilot for a secondary alignment datum. So technically, you could unscrew the pilot and like find a brush that you could clamp in there. It's a good idea there, Vanja.
Just get a bench drill press.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You tumble it in walnut long enough, you don't need to brush them.
Exactly. You guys are brushing your necks.
I don't brush my necks.
I barely even wash my brass.
It goes in the ultrasonic and it does its magic. That's what it's for.
I barely even wash my brass. If you remove 2 letters from that sentence.
Hey, sometimes I work a long day.
I told you guys before we started, no getting personal here.
I'm sorry.
Rashes and stuff.
Kurt, are you just like hand polishing all of your brass?
Absolutely. Every one of them.
My 2 little white gloves and put in a nice little velour case.
Pinky's up. Yes.
I always have to have my brass looking good.
Go ahead, Derek.
Oh, I was about to say, so you got some new products coming, getting ready to debut for SHOT Show?
Yes. Actually, we do.
I was about to say you don't have to spill all the beans, but if you want to drop some hints,
definitely, I'll give you guys some hints on it. So right now, for our 700 pattern rimfire magazines, we have what we call the Elite 700, and it's the original 700 style magazine we came out with that has the honeycomb pattern on it, and it's plastic, and it's got a straight up and down stack channel for the ammunition, which can potentially lead to rim lock if you don't load it properly. So with our billet magazine, we moved to a slanted channel inside the magazine that prevents rim lock. But there's a big discrepancy in cost from the plastic straight channel magazine to your expensive, billet slanted channel magazine. So we've developed a magazine that kind of fits in the middle, which gives you that polymer lightweight magazine, but it gives you the slanted channel.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming out here pretty shortly, and we kind of partnered up with some friends we've made in the industry, Precision Quest products on that magazine. So
I was about to say here is on the screen your 700 3D printed polymer magazine.
So that's actually injection molded. The original versions were 3D printed. And then we moved over to injection molded later just to get better consistency and durability. But yeah, that's the kind of the original one that started it all. And then our Stinger magazine.
I see you got a billet CZ 10-round magazine. That looks pretty nice.
Yep. And then we also have a 13-round billet magazine as well. That's pretty popular.
Okay, nice.
We've sold a lot of those magazines.
I like that. I like that 13 round because there's always that one you're gonna flub up on a 12 round stage. You're like, oh yeah, I got a 12 round mag, 12 round stage, good to go. And you end up boogering one up. So
that's that old, 2 is 1, 1 is none. You always have to have extra.
and it seems that a lot of the stages are 12 rounds anyways, almost.
That's really the direction I think a lot of it's going. A little bit higher round count. I've seen a lot more 12-round stages. That finale in Idaho, I mean, the average stage was probably like 15 or 16 at that one.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 stages that had less than 10 rounds at the most out of 21.
Yeah. I think the largest was an 18-round stage.
I think so. I literally have my matchbook right here. I could just look.
Yeah, so
I
we make
set it
a
out for fast deployment.
This was a very important finale, and I enjoyed myself. And I leave my book next to my computer.
Look back on it and reminisce about your awesome placement.
Yeah, reminisce about. I should have done that better.
there's a lot of Canadians that did really well at that finale match.
We
Guys definitely shined.
second and third.
Yeah.
hmm
I mean, it's no 186, but we'll work on it.
You know,
We got room to develop.
we all got to finish somewhere.
Yes.
See, what I think I need is to upgrade myself to a Hive chassis and Stinger action.
It's good for at least 25 placement points.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sold.
Finish second and third, Mike.
What? Matt and Grant Sparling. Matt Huey and Grant Sparling.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good for them.
I mean, that
Yeah.
Eastern Ontario, Canada region is a very dedicated and Northeast region. That is a skookum loaded region when it comes to shooter skills. So it makes sense that
Well, I think it's a lot easier for them to access like shorter ranges than it is longer ranges. So
definitely.
rimfire makes sense for a lot of Ontario, I think.
Yeah.
It's just trees and lakes. There's no. The only time there's a long stretch of land is it's a power line. That's it.
Trees and lakes and a couple of real shithole towns.
Tell us how you
That's
really feel, there, Rooster.
Oh, do you want me to start?
No.
I don't think you do.
That was a rhetorical question. We know exactly where it would go.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of towns, you're out of Missouri, correct?
Yeah, we're on the outskirts of Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, yeah. So is most of stuff like in state, or do you have partners out of state for your manufacturing?
A lot of our manufacturing is just 30-40 minutes from us, but we do some manufacturing out of Texas. Our chassis are manufactured in Texas, except for like the grips and the cheek pieces and everything. That's all done internally here on our SLS machine.
Yeah.
Our barrels come out of Wisconsin. Action bodies come out of Texas. The bolts are here in Missouri. The rails, the scope bases come out of Texas. So a lot of Texas stuff. There's a lot of manufacturing out of Texas.
Yeah, it's hard to beat Texas. So,
It is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can tell you how great Texas is better than a Texan.
That's
I'll
fair,
catch a
Dave.
little bit of flack for that, but we have better barbecue in Kansas City, and I'll die on that hill.
Ooh. Them fighting words.
Oh, it is. It is. We got a little bit of a beef going back and forth over that one.
Yeah. What's your favorite? If you go to a barbecue joint, what are you getting?
Brisket.
Yeah,
That's
brisket,
my
man.
meat. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
What's your-
and secondary would be like a spicy sausage, like a smoked sausage. I like to combine brisket and sausage.
What are your
What about
sides?
side
Yeah.
dishes?
I like beans.
Yeah, a good barbecue beans is hard to beat.
And pickles. Pickles is like, people don't realize pickles is an important part of barbecue because it like resets the palate when you switch from item to item.
Mhm.
You pop a pickle in there, reset your palate, you move on to the next, meat that you're doing. So
Mhm.
That's what I always say.
I'm a firm believer in coleslaw, personally.
I could never get behind coleslaw. My wife loves coleslaw. I don't like anything that's like, I'm weird. I don't like anything with white sauce. So like mayonnaise, Alfredo, anything white like that. It's like, I'm a red sauce guy.
See, I love a good cornbread too. You make me a good
Cornbread's
cornbread. Yeah, that's hard to beat. So I'd eat that
For me, it
shit
depends
3
who's
meals a
making
day.
If you guys start talking about Star Wars right away, I'm quitting.
No. No, we wouldn't go that far.
Van, I was thinking the same thing, but I wasn't going to say it.
Man's that's racist.
I must have missed the comment.
Mhm.
The MSRP on the chassis, or is that top secret? The
The white
MSRP
sauce hater.
Mhm.
on our 700 chassis is $13.99, and I think our CZ is $12.99. Cost us almost the same to manufacture it, but it's just to be more competitive in the CZ market. We just had to take a little bit of our profit margins down on it.
I was about to say
That's still
for Canadian partners, I know you guys have Go Big Tactical up here in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I know they have a line of your products, but off the top of your head, do you know any other Canadian retailers for L3I products?
We had some in the beginning, but they kind of fell by the wayside over time.
Mm-hmm.
I think Go Big is pretty much like the sole carrier of the products at this point right now, but we've looked into possibly adding some here and there. I know there's some things that we do have exclusivity with Go Big on. We were looking to add in another distributor, but my wife had started the process of doing that, and come to find out my business partner on that particular product line had already signed exclusivity rights with Go Big on that. So
Yeah.
but we're looking to expand our exporting into Canada and Europe as well, and so we're always looking for partners in that area.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Go Big is a staple of the Canadian precision rifle shooting. as Mike shows his shirt.
Tom is a very nice guy and very great to work with.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So my wife absolutely loves them and loves working with them. So
Yeah.
that relationship's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, that's definitely good. Yeah, again, a lot of people, a lot of Go Big's business is from Tom being the kind of guy he is. So just wanted to
And he
throw it
supports
out
the
there.
community a ton too.
Yeah,
That's a big thing for us, because that's like part of our motto is make an impact, and it's not about necessarily impacting the target, but it's making an impact on the community and supporting the community and keeping the sport growing and thriving. And so we support a lot of matches. We'd love to support matches in Canada as well. So just reach out to us.
That's the one thing I love about the PRS community is someone new can show up. This is like their first time, they're nervous, and someone will walk over here, try my $10,000 toy, and have no problem just letting them have it. It's the amount of trust we have is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, there's no other community like it that I've found.
I mean, no, there is nothing like this community. I have to say, it's like when I was in Idaho, one of the L3I shooters, Hunter, he was on
Chance.
stand-up guy, awesome. So we were kind of I was on the tail end of our squad, and he was on the beginning. We were just chatting back and forth, and random person, never met him before, salt of the earth person.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
He is an asset to you guys for sure.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. I'll give him that feedback. He's a big predator hunter, and he's a little younger, and so I've kind of watched him come up in the sport and kind of mature in the sport as well. And he was really like, Leon, when you gonna let me shoot for you? When you gonna let me shoot for you? And when I thought he was ready, I'm like, all right, you can come shoot for me. Well, I gotta kind of feel the guys out that are local to me that, kind of shoot for me. I'm kind of heavy in the Midwest as far as my team goes, because I know a lot of shooters in the Midwest. And so I've made it a kind of point where I'm going to travel around more and shoot more around the different areas and kind of meet people across the country and expand out that team to be more representative of all regions for sure.
So obviously you're a small business owner, and as many small business owners know, it leaves you with tons of personal time to spend on yourself. How have you've been able to balance, and you've been able to get out there and spend some time on the range? So
I trade sleep for that. All these barrels sitting behind me are supposed to go in boxes and get shipped out. Like I have a full-time job. Well, for now, until I get furloughed because the government shut down. But for now, I have a full-time job, and I run L3I in the evenings. This is the new shop we have. So now, not only am I doing L3I in the evenings, but I actually have to drive to this shop, and I have to drive back home afterwards, which is just added to it. So
so L3I is your second job.
yeah, it's me, my second job, my wife's second job, my other business partner, it's his second job as well. So we're looking at, the getting this new building is the first step of bringing employees in to help us out to meet the demand. But we're just not quite there yet. So when you email L3I, it may be 3 or 4 days before we get to you because we're trying to get your products out the door. We're trying to do all these things. We get about 75 emails a day to deal with. And I may have 4 hours to devote towards, operating L3I in a day.
Yeah.
And if I'm answering 75 emails, well, now that 4 hours is like 2.3 hours to build actions and package them and ship them out and work with vendors and suppliers, make sure things are on track, do quality inspections, count inventory, update my FFL logbooks. There's not enough hours in the day.
That is a commitment. So how many employees are people that work for the company total?
0 employees.
0 employees. Okay.
3 part-time owners.
You guys are dedicated, crazy part-time owners. I like that.
Yeah, so we have one gunsmith that he's a 1099 contractor. And so we have him come do contract labor when we're behind. And so we also contract him to do a lot of our technical support emails. So if you email L3I with a technical question, you get an email from Marcus. That's our contract gunsmith, former CZ USA gunsmith, very talented guy.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a good connection to have.
Yeah, definitely. So Kansas City's kind of like this precision rifle mecca. So we have, CZ, we used to have Bushnell, they just moved away, RCBS, Hoppies, Hodgdon, GA Precision, Manners, Badger Ordnance, Athlon Optics, and I'm probably forgetting a few, but a lot of major companies in the precision rifle world.
What's in the water there? It's probably lead at this point with all that many bullets flying.
Yeah, for sure.
Where did Bushnell go?
They moved to Montana.
Oh,
yeah. Vista Outdoors sold them off. And
okay.
I don't blame them. As a person that lives north of Montana, a little bit biased.
Yeah.
So
a little pricey to live there, I think, though, because all the California transplants.
It is now, yeah.
Yeah. Don't come any further north either.
Don't California my Montana, bro.
Yes. Yeah.
Texas is dealing with that as well. So
we've been dealing with that in Western Canada and Eastern Canada. So similar but different.
Yeah.
I've only been 2 places in Canada. I've been to Vancouver and then I've been to Alberta. Calgary.
But yes, stay in Alberta. Alberta's pretty great.
Yeah, Calgary definitely greater than Vancouver in my opinion.
So you obviously came
up the spectrum.
You obviously came up for the Apex Rocky Mountain Challenge match. Then, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
That was an amazing experience.
Did you partake in the Stampede beforehand?
Not a lot. We drove by some of the festivities and stuff, and we did like this downhill karting over by there in the old Olympic facility, and got caught up in the Stampede traffic and the crowds going around. But I think next time we might check it out more. We had our 2 daughters with us, and they were more wanting to go like check out Banff and go do shopping and all kinds of stuff like that instead. But Banff was beautiful, amazing. Most beautiful place on earth I've been to this point in my life. So, and I went to Alaska. Alaska's really beautiful as well, but something about Banff, it had everything that was beautiful about Alaska, but in one place. Where Alaska, you got to travel around to see it all. And
Mhm.
Banff and Lake Louise are my favorite when I'm up in the mountains for sure.
yeah, we went canoeing on Lake Louise, and that was awesome.
That it's the pictures don't do it justice.
Like I had to like scoop my hand in the water to like drink a little bit. And I'm like, I gotta taste this water. It looks so awesome.
This water looks good.
It's like in Waterboy where he's got that special water around his necklace or whatever, like from a glacier or something.
Also, props to you for braving the crowds and the traffic. As someone a little bit not so great with crowds, I commend you all.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. It was different,
mhm.
but it looked
But
like
you-
it'd be a lot of fun to go see, but a little wild at the same time too.
Yeah, it's the biggest outdoor show on earth, as they call it.
I think
Just a
next year we'll try it.
quick question here. Weight on the Hive chassis.
Yeah, so the chassis, I without pulling out a scale, I think it's somewhere around about 6.5 pounds with no weights in it. And then you can weight it up to like about 9.5 pounds if you add all the weights that we offer.
Are you still doing the fore ends that have the little grip tape on top?
Yeah, the control bridges, yeah. You can get a 1/2 inch roll of grip tape and it fits perfectly along the indentation on the covers.
Yeah, because I saw that at SHOT Show.
about to say.
And I hog around your table at SHOT Show for probably a lot longer than the people there wanted me to. I just couldn't stop looking at that chassis.
It's definitely unique aesthetically. I know in the beginning a lot of people are like, I don't know about it, and I think the longer it's been on the market and the more people see it, the more it kind of resonates, because we didn't just look at what was already on the market and just repeat what's already on the market. It's got kind of its own aesthetics to it, and some people love it and some people hate it, and so
I absolutely love it.
that's good to hear. And a lot of people are like, well, I like from here forward and I don't like from the grip backwards. And so I've heard that from quite a few people as well. So we're looking on doing some different things for people who want some different aesthetics on the back end of it as well.
Any other products coming up soon?
Yeah, so we just announced that we're going to be selling impact pre-fit barrels that fit actions that take like an impact pre-fit. So like your Lone Peaks and like Tabor. We work really closely with Matt Van Eyns at Tabor. He makes some fantastic actions. And so those barrels are going to be kind of the precursor to an action that we're going to release. And we're going to get offer a centerfire rifle barreled action as well. Yeah. And possibly an entire centerfire rifle we're looking into. So we're working out some variances with the ATF now. And there'll be some news on that front coming in the future.
So it'll almost be like for Worlds, almost like a production rifle.
It'd classify for factory rifle because everything will be proprietary to L3I, the barrel, the action, the chassis, and the trigger. We're working on triggers right now. That's the last ingredient we need for the rimfire rifle for Worlds. Unless they change the rules on us. I don't know. We'll see.
Fingers crossed. Maybe.
Yeah. And so I'm already talking to different importers on different continents to make sure the rifles are on all the major continents leading up to Worlds. That way, there was some talk, I know, in the committees from what I heard that they wanted to have rifles available on all the major continents to qualify for factory division. That way, all the shooters across the world would have an opportunity to compete with that rifle.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be almost. I want to say it's an advantage that some manufacturers will basically make a gamer rifle, but I'm kind of for it because it's purpose built at the same time.
And so when I talked to Rob Ramsden at the first Worlds when I went to France, he was the one who kind of wrote the the rules for factory class initially. And his intent with not having a price limit was he wanted companies to come out with the biggest, best race rifle right out of the box and make it available to everyone across the world. Because there's some countries where you can't customize a rifle. Like you have to buy it out of the box and you have to leave it that way. And so they wanted to have these PRS rifles available to them right out of the box. And so that's kind of way I understood the intent behind the factory class. And you can't use anything that doesn't come in the box with the rifle. So if you want an Arca rail, it's got to be on the rifle or in the box. If you want to have weights, it has to be included with the rifle. And so the big deal is offering a rifle system that's, properly balanced and has all the bells and whistles and needs that you need to perform very well without having to acquire anything else outside of what comes with the rifle system.
And you pretty much have to have Arca now at this point. I would say it's almost it would be more important than having sling studs on a hunting rifle.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned. Like almost everything's gone to it.
And Arca is getting pervasive now, where you're seeing the AR market. AR-15s coming with Arca rails on their handguards now. It's pretty much been universally adopted.
I think it was Geisley on one of theirs. They have an Arca rail forend.
Yeah, Geisley does. Daniel Defense now has it. IWI has it. Cross Machine Tools making Arca rail handguards as well.
And I think Vector or somebody else is just making the handguards off the top of my head. I seen something about that.
Yeah, Sergeant of Arms started making handguards pretty early on for like the arrow and hand steppers. I had one of those for a while.
I miss my arrow.
I'm sorry. I don't want to keep bringing that as source subject.
Oh, no. I've accepted it at this point. Yes, I still have it, but I just can't use it.
You can come down south and have visitation rights.
After going to Idaho was the first time I've been to the U.S. or with a firearm, and I would definitely come back again. It was wonderful. Everyone was wonderful down there.
Nice.
Everybody I interacted with was in such a good mood too.
We're playing with buttons now. We gotta look out. So.
The rooster found the sound effects.
Uh-oh.
He knew how those worked.
All right.
Is there anything else?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of. I think that's it for like our new products that were.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think we got a pretty good understanding of who and what L3I is, and a little bit of overview of the products, which is great. Thanks for sharing that with us. We got one more ad read to do, a few shout outs here, and then we'll close this off. I'll do a quick talk about our knives. So working the YouTube grind pays less than a solar farm in a snowstorm. If you want to support the channel directly, head on over to storyknives.com or cdnprecision.com for out east to pick up one of our Gardner knives. We think this is one of the best type survival / EDC fixed blades available for a very reasonable cost. We're pretty proud of this guy. So please go have a look at a great knife. We'll be confident you'll be on your side for a lifetime.
And also, we did not forget, and we never would, we want to thank our friends at Apex Optics. Championship winning glass built for shooters by shooters. Whether you're hammering stages in a PRS match, glassing game in the Rockies, or running drills at the range, Apex delivers the edge you need when it matters most. From our Hunter and Rival rifle scopes to the Edge, LPVO, and championship grade red dots. Every optic is engineered for uncompromising precision and tested under real-world conditions by the best shooters in the game. And does not stop at optics. Apex is now launching the new 30mm Hunter rings and Onyx 34mm competition rings, purpose-built for strength, ruggedness, and an absolute uncompromising repeatability. So we want to thank Apex.
And also, I just saw they dropped a one-piece mount.
Yes.
A 30 for the Edge or a 34mm tube. I forget what the name is of it. escapes me. Anyways, we'll talk about it next episode. But yeah,
We'll get it next show.
They got new products coming out on the daily. So check them out, apexoptics.co. And also, we want to thank all of our sponsors, of course. And we'll ask you check us out on facebook.com/VS podcast. Leave us a review to let us know how we're doing. If you like the content, please leave a like on the page and share. And also email us with any questions you might have. We'd love to hear from you. info@bspodcast.ca.
You Kaikazi,
massive thank
stop
you
with
to-
the nudes.
Yes. A massive thank you to all of our sponsors. Without you, we wouldn't have a show in the first place. We're talking about Shane and Steve with EM Precision Rifles, Miles Carey and Cappy with Call Sign 66, Duncan and Robert Bolt Action Coffee, Phil Odell at Odell Engineering, Doug and Niza with March Scopes Canada, Vanya and Carly with Apex Optics, Oscar with Ribstone Gunsmithing, J.R. Cox with Sterling International. Thank you all on a measured amount. And again, we'd like to thank Leon Weatherby of L3I Design Solutions for coming on and telling us about his products and all the good things coming up here shortly. And we want to thank you, the listener, for hanging out with us, listening to us live, on the go, on the YouTube, on the Facebook, on the Spotify, wherever you're at. Thank you all a bunch. Any
All right,
last words
folks.
from anybody else? Or we're good.
Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Leon website, L3idesignSolutions.com, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
Any other Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, you can find us at L3I Design on Facebook and Instagram.
Perfect.
And if you're in Canada, you can find their products on Go Big Tactical's website. So, and we do have a number of American listeners. Who are your big American retailers? Or
So
places?
Nedved Precision, A&J Sporting, Midwest Gunworks is our three big dealers.
Okay. Go check those out if you're down in the land of the free. So.
And
Sort of
just
free,
before
sort
we
of
go, you
free.
could,
Hey, we're not even close to free then.
before we go, Joel Anthony's asking when is the draw deadline for our 338 Lapua rifle, custom rifle. Like I said at the beginning, intended to be at once we reach 500 tickets sold. I may cut it off a little bit sooner than that. We'll see how long it drags out. Get your entries in, folks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks everybody for showing up. We will see you next week.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Because I have a shotgun and rifle that I use for, and 22 gauge that I use for ptarmigan, moose, and black bear.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS. Ballistically speaking. The Ballistically Speaking Podcast.